All right, Coach, before we talk about last week and your matchup against Union City, which sounded like to me it was kind of one of those strange nights again, talk about the sectional draw. You found out on Sunday about who you'll be playing. You'll go to Cecina. Talk about that first-round matchup.
No sooner had it popped up than my phone just started blowing up from all my old buddies and coaches, and Coach Hurley called me right away. So I get to go home, go back to where I played, and I coached a lot of those kids. So those this year's seniors were freshmen my last year at Cecina, so I know a lot of those kids well. It'll be fun to go home, and you got to beat the best to be the best, right? So a lot of our kids, they were blowing up my phone too. They're really excited because they know I've wanted to play them and get my shot at them. So it's kind of cool seeing the response from everybody, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. And my family was all over, and they're all arguing over they're going to wear their Cecina gear or their Centerville gear, and I said it straight that we're wearing Centerville gear right away. But it's going to be exciting. Anytime you get an opportunity to go to Indianapolis and play one of the best teams in the state, it's exciting. So I'm ready for the challenge and actually really excited for it.
Yeah, I think I ask all the football coaches this every year when this happens, because as you know as well as I do, the way that it matches up sometimes on the blind draw, the best can play the best, and sometimes the worst can play the worst. Is there going to come a time in the state of Indiana where you guys will decide, listen, we got to at least seed this sectional in the first round to give everybody an even chance and not to have the best teams playing right out of the chute?
Well, we talk about that with our Football Coaches Association, the IFCA, every year, and it's something we want to do, and we've come up with what I think is a very good plan and presented it to the IHSA. It doesn't seem like something that Mr. Cox is interested in yet, but I think it's something that eventually they'll see that it's logical. If nothing else, seed the first two seeds and just make sure on the opposite side and let it go from there. And to me, that's just very logical, and I think it'd be the best revenue situation as well. They don't see it that way. Who knows? I think as long as the balls keep dropping the way they are, and there's a couple matchups around the state where that occurred again, where the two best teams are playing in the first round, that each year it gives us a better case and scenario for it. So hopefully we continue to sway a little bit further that way and can get that done here soon.
All right, Coach, talk about last Friday night. I looked at the score and I thought, uh-oh, something weird happened again, but you ended up with a couple of injuries. That didn't help your cause at all. Ends up 7-0.
Yeah, we went on a 11-minute and 50-second drive to start the game. It was 21 plays and then missed a field goal. But somewhere in the 7th or 8th play, Ryan was scrambling and it looked like the sniper got him. I saw him pull up, knew it was a hamstring right away. It is one of those things where he was able to go back in, but it's my decision. I thought it was best he stayed out. Right now it's a hamstring pull, not a tear, so we're just day-to-day with him. Austin Snyder came in, who hasn't gotten any, meaningful varsity reps yet, and just did an awesome job. Came right in, controlled the huddle. And Chris Pritchett also went down on that first drive too with an ankle thing that slowed him down. He came back around in the second half. So it's one of those things where we had to play through a lot of adversity right away, and I thought our kids responded well. And it was a tough, hard-hitting game like we knew it would be against Union City. That's who they are, and I thought our kids did a good job. And we got out there with the win, and in the end, that's all that matters.
Tells you a lot about your team when you have that adversity and still come out with a road win.
Yeah, and the other part of that is too, and any coach will tell you, your starter goes down, your backup gets reps, but it shrinks your playbook, big time. So we had to be very vanilla. Not that Austin's not capable, but just as a coach, your confidence level goes down in calling some of the intricate things that you do. So I was impressed with. I started gaining confidence in him as we were moving the ball, and he really responded well. And I feel that no matter what happens on Friday, we're going to be in good hands with whoever's under center.
And as you said to me before we started, everything's day-to-day right now.
Yeah, day-to-day with Ryan. We're going to hold him out of practice all week, and he's still able to throw and do things like that, and he'll be doing rehab with our trainer, and come Thursday we'll probably be able to make that decision.
Well, another big week, and we kind of thought about this at the beginning of the year. It could come down to the last week of the season. That's kind of what it's happening right here. Yeah. Talk about your matchup in a team that certainly wants to win this thing outright, and you want to get a share.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how it worked out that the four teams all vying for it are playing each other. So, we're big Northeastern fans this week, and then we got to go do our job. I was just talking to Mr. Howell, our athletic director. He said he thinks it's the first time he could ever remember a four-way tie, which is kind of crazy to think about. But, our fate's in our own hands as far as conference goes. But the main thing is I want to make sure that we go out and go into sectionals playing football and doing well. So it's important that we finish the season with the win and have a lot of confidence going into our big matchup with Cecina.
Well, you know, Knightstown has a very, very good quarterback, as you probably know by now. One of those guys that's a multi-purpose type guy, can run and throw. Talk about what you have seen over them over the last couple of weeks, which I've really seen a lot of improvement out of them.
Yeah, he's a very impressive athlete. Reminds me a lot of Owen Gollier that we gone against the past couple of years. So it's going to be nice to look back to some of our game plans going as far as that goes. But he just seems to make a play anytime they need to make a play. You can go back and watch any film that I've seen of him so far. I mean, it's 4th and 15. He's going to find 16 yards. It's 3rd and 5. He's going to get 6 yards. He's just an incredible athlete, and their confidence level, you can see it appears to me week to week they feel that they're supposed to win, and it's pretty cool because that's been a turnaround for them based off of what's happened the past couple of years. So they're an impressive team, and they're pretty good up front, and their front seven on defense I'm very impressed with as well. So it's going to be a tough matchup for us, and it's everything you'd want in this type of matchup at the week 9 of the season, you know.
Coach, a lot from a standpoint of riding on this, as we just said. How do you think the players react to this, knowing that you have such a tough game this week and then such a tough opener next week? Is it a great opportunity? Do they kind of look at it that way? Yeah,
like I said earlier, I was actually really excited with the responses I was getting, the messages I was getting from the kids. Talking about, you know, when they saw the sectional draw, and then just how excited they've been for this game this week. Just hearing around the school, you know, the kids at school are trying to get a fan bus together and things like that. So there's a lot of excitement still around here going into the season. I was just glad that, you know, some teams would see that draw and say, oh, well, let's pack it up, pack it in. Well, our kids are excited for it and embracing the opportunity. But, you know, it's game by game. And right now, this week, our Super Bowl is Knightstown, and we got to go down and take care of business.